All right, guys, so this is the 4-year ownership video, and I'm actually on the same road that I did the very first video of the Alfa Romeo Giulia QV 4 years ago, to the day, and just came up here to have some fun. This is a nice little windy road. Now, of course, when I did that first video, this car was bone stock, and right now it's modified, fine-tuned, and tweaked even better to my personal taste. And I'm going to talk to you guys a lot about the ownership, possibly a couple of changes that I might make, but there's going to be a lot of good content. These videos tend to be a little bit longer, but I want to give anybody out there that's never been on this channel or is really interested in owning one of these cars, or even current owners of this car, the most information possible. That's really why I love to share the ownership experience with a lot of you guys around the world, is to share and compose feedback and just learn. Everybody's, it's constant learning and enjoying, and really, this car is just so damn good. Oh my God. I'm not even doing high speed right now, but I'm just on a nice back road. We got some elevation changes, and I can enjoy this car 100% of the time, and that's something I want to talk about in this video, because I have a lot of other cars, but I can't really enjoy them 100% of the time. This car's chassis is so well developed and so strong that it can handle the cesspool of New York without a flinch. It's great interior, great ergonomics, great sound. Just everything about this car. I just basically took an exceptional car and I made it even better. And it's also one of the most documented, it's definitely the most documented Giulia QV in the world, based off the Auto Fanatic channel and everything that I've created for you guys. Look, there was a piece of wood in the middle of the road, but this car's reflexes are so sharp and dynamic. Oh man, it's just unbelievable. We got the reservoir down there. Oh my God, this car is so good. So good. But I thought, might as well just go on that same road that I was on 4 years ago and kind of relive the experience. Because I don't come up to this particular road anymore. I do my drive videos a lot of other roads, but man, the Auto Fanatic stainless steel resonator delete kit is a must-have, and it's super affordable. Instead of spending $5,000 to $8,000 on an exhaust system, spend $400 and do it yourself. Because the factory box in this car, it's tuned so well with the resonance and the pops, and I just think it's one of the best sounding systems. We'll just crack the window open just a little bit. Oh man, this car is just smiles for miles. That's what I would say. To get a car that you could get in, you could drive like this, you could go to the grocery store, you could sit in traffic. I sit in traffic in race mode. Call me crazy, but I don't know. That's just what I do. I like to rev it out. I like to hear the sound. It kind of makes me pass my aggravating time in traffic, and it goes a lot smoother. It just puts a smile on my face. And I think that's what cars are all about for an enthusiast. It's a little bit more than transportation and going to point A to point B for guys like us. It's really about the experience and how we feel when we get behind the wheel of a car. We want to feel special. We want to get that, the little boy's holding his ears. That was great. We want to get that sensory overload, because it's a part of our way of de-stressing and, removing ourselves from the daily environment and aggravation of, living normal life today. Cars are my outlet. They always were, and I just think it's great. Like some people, they're into sports, they're into kickboxing and going to the gym and, going to football games. Everybody's got their own type of gratification. For me and people that watch this channel, it's really cars. That's really what it's all about. That's my outlet, and I found it very early on in life. And, it's kind of great that I could own these cool cars, and, with the social media platforms, I'm able to share and communicate with owners around the world, and enthusiasts and mechanics and people that modify these things. And it just opens up, something that we never were able to do back, 20, 30 years ago. You own the car, you own the car. The only time you would ever share it with someone is if you went to a car show or if you went to the racetrack. Now, we're able to share all of these great experiences, and it makes the ownership that much more rewarding. Like, everybody looks at me because this thing is so loud on the outside. Yeah, I hit the limiter there. That's the only bad thing is the limiter is so damn low. I'm so used to the very high limiters in the 355 and GT350R. That's one thing I wish this car had, was like a 9,000 RPM limiter. Oh my God. It's just so good. I mean, look, it's a little bumpy, the road. I'm in race mode. You know what? I'm gonna put the suspension in mid. Do a little bit better job of... I mean... It's just amazing. It's absolutely amazing that you could get into this car and it's attainable, you know, for a lot of people to buy these cars for under 100 grand. Unfortunately, these cars are going to be a thing of the past. They're not going to make these anymore. Just mark my words. I think 2023 is going to be the end of the road for the Alfa Romeo Quadrifoglio, whether it's a Stelvio or a Giulia. They're not selling these cars. They don't appeal to a large enough audience. The automotive industry is going EV, which I don't even want to get into right now, because this is my passion. You know, my heart's racing. I have the adrenaline going. I'm enthusiastically talking about it and sharing it in a video. I got a camera strapped to my head, which is not very comfortable, but you know, it's kind of like the little sacrifices you make, because I want to share this experience with everybody that watches this video. Hopefully it's going to be thousands of people around the world that are going to watch this, engage, and kind of, you know, click on all the other videos that I'll show in the description of owning this car for 4 years. Because I know for a fact there's no other car that's going to replace this car. As quirky as it could be, as much as it's the most crazy love-hate relationship, I don't think... Now remember, in the very first video, I pulled over here and I was talking about how this car reminded me of the very first generation Maserati Quattroporte, the one that had the single clutch F1 gearbox. Remember that? So if you go back to that very first video, that's what I mentioned. That's kind of like the comparison, because I definitely wouldn't compare this to an M3 or a C63 or an Audi. I can't believe people bike on these roads, but... Woo! I tell you one thing too, the custom Auto Fanatic steering wheel changes the whole feel. Because when you're in the factory steering wheel on the earlier cars, they got all those stupid seams. It just doesn't feel right. You know, when you're driving a car, you want to feel a smooth transition. You want to have everything kind of uniform. Similar to like being in a race car. You're not going to see a race car with a bunch of seams and materials of carbon fiber and plastic and leather and Alcantara. It's just too much going on. So I love the way I clean this up. This one I did with the top stripe. And I'm making another one now for a customer in Texas. And he's absolutely going to love the steering wheel. But like I said, I'm just having some fun. I'm going to pull over in a park. I'm going to grab my thoughts. I'm going to relax a little bit. And I'm going to start the rest of the video of the 4 years of owning the Giulia Quadrifoglio. And you guys are going to come along and check out the car. I'll show you guys the condition. The car is like new. Absolutely it is. I mean, you're not going to believe this is a 4-year-old car that's been through 4 New York winters and a hell of a lot of ups and downs along the way. But more ups than downs. Man, this thing is just so freaking good. See, like, I live for this. Like, I drove 45 minutes just to come back on this road right now. Like, I just wasted all that time because this, even though I'm on this road for only, I don't know, 10 minutes, the reward far outweighed the effort to get here. So stay tuned to the rest of the video. You guys are going to love it, and hopefully you're going to learn a lot. All right, guys, just pulled over. Can you absolutely believe it's been 4 fucking amazing years with the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio? Before I go forward on the video, for anybody that's never seen a video on the Auto Fanatic channel regarding the Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio, there's been 4 years of content. I documented every single thing about the ownership of this car, from maintenance, detailing, modifications, the engineering, the issues I had with dealers, warranty issues, everything's been documented. So for anybody out there that wants to get the most comprehensive content on social media regarding buying one of these cars and owning one of these cars, as far as what it's going to take, I highly suggest you guys subscribe to the Auto Fanatic channel, set your alerts. I'm going to put all the links to every video that I did on this particular car down in the video description so you guys can catch up and watch my 1 year, my 2 year, my 3 year, and now this is going to be my 4th year owning my 2018 Giulia Quadrifoglio. It's fully modified, a lot of custom touches. I'm going to show you guys the condition of the car. We're going to talk a little bit more whether I'm going to keep the car, or maybe I'm going to sell it and get something else. And I think it's going to be a good video for you guys that follow the channel and were with me along the journey for 4 years of pleasure, 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 a little bit of torture, and more pleasure that goes along with it. So let's get the camera. Let's just show you guys the car right now. So you could see it, Volcano black, 4 years. This car is absolutely in impeccable condition. Why? Because I maintain it like a lunatic. I show you guys on the Auto Fanatic channel not only how to care for the car mechanically, but also detailing it and everything else. So you can just see the paint right there. It's in perfect condition. There's no chips, there's no dings. I am the original owner since day one, and I documented this car since it came off the truck 4 years ago, October of 2018. And now we're in October of 2022, and I'm going to give you guys a full wrap up. All right, guys, so you can see the condition of the car. Now, this car is fully customized and fully modified, so I'll go over a couple of little things on it. And I shot a lot of videos regarding some of the modifications. Something new that I just did were the GTA style Koshi carbon fiber mirror caps. I absolutely love those. I love the way it complements the original. These are the jeweled Quadrifoglio badges. They complement the Ray brake calipers. They just look absolutely awesome, and it gives a nice little touch on the Volcano black paint. We got the carbon fiber, you know, down here. All of that stuff is the same. This car's got KW DDC coilovers. We got custom forged monoblock wheels that kind of mimic the original Technicos. Got 2-piece lighter gyro disc rotors. These things were custom plated, custom anodized, and cryogenically treated. Carbotech pads front and rear. The Auto Fanatic rock guard kit. That thing is what saved the paint for 4 years driving in New York with all the construction. We got custom rear toe links in the rear of the car, custom end links, all new suspension bolts, the Auto Fanatic stainless steel resonator delete kit, a bunch of carbon on the interior. The car is just incredible the way it's set up, and you guys watch the channel and you guys know the deal. So I may consider selling this car. I don't know yet, and I'm kind of, you know, throwing it out there for anybody that watches this video. If anybody is interested in one of these cars, and possibly my particular car, this is the most documented Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio anywhere on social media. I showed you guys everything about this car from day one to today. And honestly, that adds a hell of a lot of value, because you know the car didn't come out of an auction. You know it wasn't beat up. You know it wasn't crashed. And you know you could go back in every video, hundreds of videos, of all the care and maintenance and love I put towards this car since day of delivery. So you know this car is one of a kind, and it's really, really special. It's actually really hard for me to part with it, but you know, life is changing. I got a lot of things going on. We're going to be relocating outside of the area, and my biggest fear is going to a different location, different part of the country. I'm just concerned that I'm not going to have the resources. I know for a fact I'm not going to have the resources, just in case I need to have warranty work or anything special done to this car, because I'm not an Alfa Romeo mechanic, and I don't have the factory diagnostic tool and all of that stuff. So it's just one of those things you got to really think about. You know, do you want to cause a headache in your life where every time something happens, do I have to flatbed it and bring it back up to Connecticut? I will say, want to give a shout out to Miller Motor Cars and Alfa Romeo of Greenwich, Connecticut. Outstanding technical team. Those guys are what got this car up and running after a prior dealership caused a lot of headaches, and I'll talk more about that. But you can learn more about that too in my 2-year and 3-year video. But so far the car's running like a champ, and I just got it back from service. They're great. They just pick it up in my house on a flatbed, and they bring it back in a flatbed, and it just makes my life a lot easier. I don't care about a loaner car. I have other cars to use. But the car is just one of a kind. It's incredible. Those are the new brakes. Look awesome, work awesome. Saved about, oh my God, saved like 40 pounds of unspring weight on each axle, you know, total front and rear. And the car just feels like night and day difference. So just to show you the condition of the car, you know, for anybody that may be interested, I think it's going to come down to this. If anybody really is interested and makes me a legitimate offer, and the money's there and no BS, I may be persuaded to sell it and possibly get another Ferrari I've been looking at like the Ferrari 599 GTBs. I think that car would be an awesome car in lieu of this. Like I said, maybe got a little chip here and there. A little bit of damage, of course, everybody smashes it down here. That actually happened when I had the low ring springs in the car. FYI, ever since I installed the KW DDC kit, I have not bottomed out ever on the front of this car since I've installed that kit. So FYI, for anybody that's got these cars and you're smacking the bottom a lot, I'm going to tell you right now, the low ring springs, it's a mediocre option. I tested them. I don't recommend them anymore. If you could afford it, you know, the DDC kit's probably about $5,000 today. It's definitely going to be the way to go, just because the factory shock tuning with the low ring springs is just less than ideal. You can see the condition of the car. It's just freaking flawless. You can see the paint. Another thing too, a lot of guys, when they have cars and they don't treat them right, you get chips all over the edges. This thing is perfect. Every panel in this car is perfect. You could see it inside the jams, all the leather. There's no greasiness. There's no wear and tear. This car is, if not one of the best used cars you're gonna ever find in the market if I do decide to let it go. You can see the custom steering wheel. I did 2 of these. This is the second one that I did with the carbon fiber trim, everything else. And I recently just had some warranty work done. We just replaced the dash screen. It had some like a delaminating effect. So under warranty, I was like, might as well just get that done. And that's why the car was up at the dealership recently. So you could just see this car. It's freaking phenomenal. I don't know. This car is one of those things where it's so damn good and it's so hard to let it go because, to be honest with you, the car market today sucks. There's just nothing really, really desirable that I could see myself replacing this with. The new M3 is horrible. I just wouldn't get that car. I don't care what anybody says. It doesn't excite me, and every time I look at it, I just want to vomit. I'm sorry, I just don't love that car. This car is far better, sounds better, looks better, and I think it's far more special. The car's lighter, it's more nimble. Everything about this car, in my opinion, blows away the C63 and the BMW M3. Now, recently I was up at the Cadillac dealer, and I looked at the Cadillac CT4 V Blackwing. Incredible driving car. It's got a manual transmission. That's really what caught my interest about possibly getting one of those. But honestly, I just can't fall in love with the styling, and I just don't see myself being part of the Cadillac brand. It just doesn't fit my personality. I had a couple of Cadillac CTS-Vs in the past. You know, they were cool. They were kind of four-door muscle cars. I liked it. But to be honest with you, I think I'm a little bit over it. I'm not excited about the brand. I don't get excited when I look at the cars. Even though it's a great platform, it doesn't sound as good as this. It doesn't have that special engine. The chassis is phenomenal. Transmission's phenomenal. But everything else about the car just kind of steers me away, and that's why I didn't do the deal recently. And I'm kind of happy that I still have this car because it's a perfect car. Now, life, of course, is very different for most of us. Ever since the 2020 events, hit, we're not driving as much. A lot of people are working from home, and I don't really drive this car as much as I used to. I used to put about 15,000 miles minimum on my daily driver per year. And to be honest with you, I drive like a third of that now per year because I have so many other cars, and I spend most of my time in the Stelvio just knocking around in New York City, tri-state area. And I kind of preserve this car. I take care of it. I don't beat on it. You guys see all the videos. I've driven it in the snow, in the rain, all sorts of freaking content. And it gives you a really good understanding as far as what it takes to own this car and why, from the very, very first video, why I say it's one of the most special cars ever created. And Alfa Romeo and no other brand is ever going to come up with a car like this. They took the guys from Ferrari and they engineered this car, the guys that developed the 458. I mean, it's one of the best mid-engine Ferraris ever created. And they took those engineers and created this Giorgio platform. The car is just incredible. It's the sensory and visceral experience that no other car in this category can even come close to it. Yes, it's got its quirks. Yes, the car acts up once in a while. But you know what? It's one of those things, it's a love-hate relationship. And I'll be honest with you, I mean, I'm not saying this to insult anyone, but this reminds me of my youth when I used to date very, very psychotic Italian women. I'm not even kidding you. They used to drive me crazy, make me sick to my stomach, cause me nothing but stress, but you still keep going back. You still keep going. You got that connection, and it's like torture to kind of break that connection sometimes when you're younger. Same thing with this car. It's a love-hate relationship. You have to understand what it is. You have to love every aspect about it, and you have to accept it's going to screw up once in a while. There's something that's going to happen. One day you're going to go to the car and it may not start. Your battery may be dead because you forgot to lock the car properly. Just some freaking funky stuff is going to happen, and that just comes with the territory of owning an Alfa Romeo or owning a Ferrari or Maserati or Lamborghini. Lamborghinis are actually pretty reliable for the most part, but I'm not going to really touch more upon that. But that's really what it is. You have to accept what this car is all about, what comes with ownership, but the gratification, the smiles on your face, the fact that I get in this car, I could drive down the block to the grocery store and have fun. I could drive an hour away and have fun. I could drive it in the snow and have fun. I could drive it in traffic and have fun. There's no other car that I've ever owned that enabled that much gratification for a car enthusiast like myself. And like I said, that's why I still have it. That's why I own it. I never in my life have owned a single new car or old car for more than a year and a half. Usually 16 months, 18 months, the car was gone. This is the longest I've ever owned a modern car in my life. Pretty radical for me to say that, and I actually admit it. Another thing too, you can see you got to get this car with the carbon buckets if you're going to buy one. I don't care. I feel bad for everybody that has the regular seats, but if you want the true experience and you modify this car the way I set my car up and you got those carbon Sparcos, it is a completely different driving experience. You could feel the road a little bit better. You're sitting lower to the ground, and totally different. Also the custom steering wheel. We have no seams, thicker padding. I custom make these for customers. I have these on my website, made to order. We got the custom instrument cluster cover. I mean, the car is just freaking cool. You know, it's modern, it's simple, it doesn't have a lot of tech, which for me is perfect because I don't care about tech in a car. I care about the performance, the engineering, and how it makes me feel every single time I fire up that engine and I get into this car. And to be honest with you, no other car makes me feel this way 100% of the time. We got the carbon fiber AC vents right there. You can see this seat is freaking amazing, these Sparco seats. The only thing that aggravates you in the summertime, if you're wearing a short sleeve shirt, this little edge could kind of be a little annoying, but look at the seats. There's no wear and tear, there's no cracks, there's no rips, there was never fast food hauled in this car. The car was just totally babied for 4 years, and you guys, could go back and see the documentation of all the detailing content. I used the car for marketing and demonstrations of the Auto Fan at a car care line, which I appreciate all you guys around the world that support the brand and everything that I do. And the car just looks great on camera. Everything about this car, it's really special. But, the chances of me moving are very high right now, and I'm just a little bit concerned about taking this car with me. Not only that, just incurring the expense of shipping it along with all my other cars, and I'm trying to move around some other cars as well. So my probability is probably pretty high that if somebody really wants it, I may sell it. I don't know. It's going to be a very hard situation for me to break free from this car. After 4 years of everything that I've been through, I'm kind of like attached to it, which is really weird. But I want to talk about a couple of things that's going to probably help you guys out if you guys own these cars and you're having some little nuances or issues. I'm going to talk about 2 things right now that are probably going to help you out if you have one of these right now. All right, guys, we're over on my driver's side door, and I removed the reflector that goes on the side, and this is something important I want to show you guys. So my car started getting a very bad rattle in the door panel, and it was driving me nuts. So one day I said, you know what, let me just stop. I'm always tied up doing other things. Let me just stop and try to fix it. So if you look in here, you see that there's a screw, and it screws into a piece of metal. The metal is actually part of the actual metal door. So the way the factory has it, there's a plastic captive tab that pushes into the metal, and then the screw goes through the metal into the door panel. What happened on my car, the plastic little insert was cracked. So the screw was spinning and it wasn't getting tight. So I just removed the screw, I pulled out the plastic cracked piece, and I put a metal speed clip in there, and then I put a larger, heavier duty gauge screw, put it back together, everything's fine, and all you gotta do is just take your reflector and pop it in. So that's just something I wanted to share with you in this video. If you guys are having any kind of door rattles, every single door in this car is the same situation. Take out the reflector, check the screw. If the screw is loose, pull it out and remove that plastic tab and put a speed clip and a larger diameter screw, and you're gonna have your problem solved in a matter of minutes. All right, guys, tip number 2, we are in the passenger side of the interior of the car in the front. Now, in the front, you remove this little, pull the floor mat back, and you remove this little cover here, okay? This cover reveals a fuse panel and the body control module. Now, this thing was tampered with by a prior dealer when I had the water damage, and they just tampered with a whole bunch of crap in this car and caused me nothing but freaking headaches. I was getting stuck everywhere. They broke a wiring harness up under the hood, and they didn't tell anybody. They kind of botched it up and taped it, and I was getting a short to ground, which was causing a lot of my intermittent issues if you guys watch my 3-year video. But something very important, and this is something that just happened recently when I picked the car up from driving on the bumps in New York. A lot of the bumps are going to kind of shake things loose. So you have some bolts here. Now, behind the carpet, right back here, there are several ground leads that are going to ground a lot of the electronic modules and the BCM right to the chassis, which is to the floor. Now, on my particular car, those grounds came completely loose on the threaded stud that's welded to the floor of the body, came completely loose, and what it's going to do, it's going to cause the modules to go offline, the car to shut off, the transmission won't go into gear, and it's going to be an absolute nightmare. So I'm going to show you guys a quick clip that the service department just sent me to show you exactly where this is. So you got to go back here, which you can't see. There's a threaded stud with a bunch of ground leads being terminated. If your car has an issue where you can't get it into park, you can't get it into drive, if your transmission is not illuminating or the car just goes dead, please go to your passenger side footwell, pull this back, and check to see if those ground leads terminated on that terminal are completely loose. If you wiggle with your hand, that's no good. Tighten them up, and it should solve all your issues. So I just wanted to show you that in this video because I think it's very, very important for anybody that owns these cars. If you have intermittent issues, you need to check your ground sources. That's just very, very important on Italian cars, to check the batteries and check your ground sources, and that is a common area for failure. Apparently, if somebody monkeyed with the car, they probably forgot to tighten that up or forgot to put the nut back on. Who the hell knows, but it just happened to me, and I just wanted to share that in this 4-year video with you guys right now. All right, guys, off to tip number 3 of the ownership of an Alfa Romeo Giulia or Stelvio. You're gonna probably say, Phil, what the hell is this? Okay, I said the same thing. A friend of mine, Joe, he owns the company called Centerline Alfa. They're a huge Alfa Romeo parts and aftermarket supplier. We've become good friends over the years. He's a really great guy. He sent me this thing about 2 years ago. He says, hey, Phil, I developed this transmission lock release, and he goes, why don't you do a video on it? And I said, Joe, I don't understand. Like, what do you mean? Like, what am I going to do a video on this? I didn't understand what this does. So I kept it in my toolbox, and then I eventually put it in the trunk of my car where the tow hook is. Now, when my ground down there came loose, this did not illuminate anymore. The car was stuck in gear, and I couldn't get it towed. Now, I call Alfa Romeo roadside. They says, oh, yeah, no problem. The tow guy is going to have the right tool to disengage the transmission to safely get it on the truck. Okay. A couple hours later, the tow guy shows up. I says, hey, sir, how are you? Thanks for coming down. I said, do you have the special tool to release the transmission and put it into neutral to get it? He goes, what tool? No special tool. Oh, no, we don't have that on the truck. He goes, we're going to have to put soap on the bed of the truck and drag it up. I says, no, you're not going to do that. I went in the trunk. I pull this out. I go, listen, I'm going to go grab my floor jack. We're going to jack the car up. You are going to get under the car. You're going to screw this up into the transmission by the valve body. It hits a little pawl, and it puts the car into neutral, and the car was safely towed. So FYI, Joe, this is the video I'm probably going to do for you. I'm going to give you a little shout out. Hopefully you'll sell a bunch of these. Go onto his website, Centerline Alfa, and order this. I think it's like 20 bucks. I suggest for everybody that owns a Stelvio or Giulia to just buy this tool. That's all I'm just telling you, for peace of mind and safety. Buy this tool, throw it in the trunk of the car in the foam insert, and if and ever if you have to have your vehicle towed and the car stuck in gear or something goes bonkers with the electrical system, be rest assured that you're going to have this tool. Don't rely on the tow truck guy. He's most likely not going to have this tool, but I'm just telling you right now, this little thing saved the freaking day not that long ago, and I just wanted to highlight it in this video. This stupid little highlighted red bolt saved the day and released the transmission to get it flatbedded on the truck when the ground came loose. So that is another Autofanatic ownership tip of owning one of these cars. FYI, go out and buy one of these today, and we're going to continue on with the rest of the video now. All right, guys, so that's going to pretty much wrap up the 4-year video. I hope you guys got some tips as far as, like I said, the door rattles if you have those, the ground by the BCM module, and also that neutral release tool from Centerline Alfa. Please pick one of those up. It'll save the day if this car goes down and towed and you have any issues like that. Also, I did a video on the Autofanatic channel on the Stelvio, replacing the battery with an interstate. Also, if you guys are having electrical issues, just pull the battery out. It's a simple, easy procedure. It'll take you 20 minutes. Buy an interstate battery. Don't get the factory Varta battery. I just think they suck. This battery was replaced, I think, 3 times in 4 years. But other than that, you can see the condition of the car. It's as flawless as you're going to get for a pre-owned car. There's no curb rash. Everything's brand new on the suspension. Every nut and bolt on the front and rear suspension was replaced with factory hardware. It cost me about $1,000. just because I took the car apart so many times, changing and trying out suspensions and doing about 10 different alignments, I wanted all fresh hardware on the car. So everything's fresh, titanium stud kit, brand new Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires. The car is in impeccable condition. You're not gonna find a better one anywhere in the world for sale. I'm gonna tell you that now, especially with the documentation and chronicalization of owning this car for 4 years on the Auto Fanatic channel. So I'm just throwing it out there. If anybody's interested and you're serious, contact me, because it might persuade me to get another car, maybe like a Ferrari 599, maybe a 458. I don't really know, but just to let you guys know, unlike a lot of big automotive YouTube channels, I don't buy cars for content and for clicks and for views. I buy cars based on what I want for my personality and my personal gratification and enjoyment. And if it happens to be something that you guys around the world like, then I create content, you guys watch, you guys learn, and come along for the journey. That's kind of like what I did with all the cars that I show on the channel, from the GT350, GT500, the 350R, this car, the Stelvio, the Infiniti, whatever. I kind of buy cars that interest me, my lifestyle, my passion, my driving enthusiasm, and I share it on the channel. So I'm not gonna go out and buy the new BMW M3, because I just don't think I ever wanna own something like that. I'm not gonna go buy, you know, a car just to say, oh, let me go create some content in 6 months and get rid of it. I'm gonna buy a car that is important and special to me and me only. So guys, that's it. That's the 4-year ownership on the Auto Fanatic channel of the 2018 Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. Now, if you guys have any suggestions, as far as even if you own one of these cars, what would you replace this car with? Another thing too, in my life, I don't need a sedan anymore. I really don't. I just need a 2-seater. I have so many other cars to drive that I could kind of get my kicks off with a manual transmission, various other cars. I have a couple of manual transmission cars. So I actually really enjoy this car with the paddle shift, and I think I want to get another car with the paddle shift. I'm looking at the last generation Dodge Viper, the SRT Viper, the GTS or GTC as a possible addition to my stable. I may sell the Shelby 350R to get one of those. I don't know yet. I'm still trying to find one of those cars. There's not a lot of them out there. I also like the Ferrari 599 GTB 2009 to 2011 with the HGTE pack. I would lower it. I do a set of custom rims, a full exhaust system, and the car is just freaking amazing. It's a V12, all aluminum bodied. You know, it's got the F1 super fast gearbox. And that actually might give me an opportunity also to do a gated manual conversion and possibly keep the car. Like I said, because I don't drive these cars as much as I used to. We're going to be relocating out of the area, and that's a very, very big deciding factor as far as what cars I'm going to take and what cars I'm going to leave, because where we're going to move, I'm not going to say yet until what actually happens and we kind of settle in. You'll guys see some content on that. I'll show you guys, you know, the new environment, the new garage build out. Everything is going to be documented on the channel, hopefully. And possibly we'll just add some new cars and everything else, but it's garage space. You know, moving to a new area, there's not a lot of car clubs and storage areas where you can kind of keep a lot of your, you know, overflow of cars when you're a car nut like I am. So I have to be, you know, smart enough to bring cars that I'm going to use, bring cars that are going to give me the satisfaction and the enjoyment where I'm going to live. I'm going to tell you now, the roads that I'm going to be driving on eventually, very, very soon, are going to make me the happiest guy in the world. You could give me a school bus and I'm going to be happy, not driving on potholes, traffic, and gravel. I'm going to be the happiest car guy in the freaking universe when that happens. And I'm kind of like holding on to all my cars for a reason, because I really want to enjoy every single one of my cars in a better driving environment, and also share that with you on the channel. But I don't know. I mean, the car is hard to let go. I'm attached to it. I love it. And all the issues that I had with the car were all self-inflicted by bad technicians, not by me, not by the car self-grenading or anything like that. So if you guys have comments, questions, post it in the comments below. If anybody's out there serious and you could persuade me in selling my Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio to you, I'm going to tell you, contact me. I'll tell you the number that I'm thinking about because of the added value of like $20,000 worth of parts in the car, low mileage, it still has full warranty, and also the documentation from day one that you guys know every single thing that happened to this car, good, the bad, the fun, everything, and the car is going to be the best condition Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio that you'll find anywhere in the world. And if somebody wants it even out of the country, I will, you know, work out a deal and export it and ship it out to you. I don't really care, but it's just a thought right now. It's not a 100% decision. I'm just throwing it out there, and I want to mention it in this video because I have a big audience that watches this stuff. And I think someone out there may be, you know, itching for one of these cars for a couple of years and like, yeah, you know, I can't really find the right one. this is the one you're going to want. And like I said, if the deal could happen, you got the money and the numbers make sense, I may be tempted to get rid of this and get a Ferrari 599 or a 458. I don't really know right now, but just a food for thought, just some thoughts. And like I said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned to the channel. Please subscribe. Lots of content on this channel for anybody that's never been to this channel before regarding an Alfa Romeo, whether it's DIY, maintenance, tips and tricks. And I hope you guys learned something today. And thanks again for all the support. And please head over to the AutoFanatic website and support the products and services that I offer you guys anywhere in the world. We ship our products to 165 countries worldwide. And like I said, we're going to continue to grow, and a lot of upcoming changes for the end of this year into 2023. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more content.